Okay, we're live.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Education Facilities Committee meeting. Today is Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. The time is now 6:02 p.m. With me this evening, I have board members Garrett Oliver and Nellie Cole. And from the Board of Education, I have Deputy Superintendent Sandra Fayouis. And first item on the agenda is the meeting, the notes, actually the minutes. Does anybody have had the time to read them? Any corrections on the minutes? Garrett, Nellie, they look good?
They looked good on my end.
Yeah, they look good on mine as well.
Okay, thank you. And with that, we will head right into the meeting. I'm going to transfer the meeting to Sandra Fayouis for the evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Diana Carpio, our new chair of the Facilities Committee. And thank you so much, Mr. Oliver and Ms. Cole, for joining this committee. It's exciting to have you. It's been a long time since we've had new members. And today's meeting is constructed with that in mind, because we want to bring you up to date on our projects and be available to you for any questions. And this is the first time I think that we've had Ms. Carpio chair this committee. And so then we're excited about that too. And with that, we did not receive any public comments via email. And so there's no need to go over that. I do have with me several members of our school construction team. I have Alan Lowe that joins us from the city side, and I have Bill Hodel, who was our director of facilities for the district. And typically we split it up between all of us to give you some updates. I think the first item on our agenda is the approval for a power purchase agreement. And Bill, will you go over that? I think it's the first item before the updates, or did you want to leave it to the end? Chair, do you have a preference?
No preference. Thank
Okay,
you.
it's the first
Yeah.
item on the agenda. Go ahead, Bill. Thank
Thank you, Sandra. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm having a little difficulty, so just bear with me. So what you have here in front of you is a PPA contract, which has not been signed, and it needs to be reviewed from this group and then moved on to the full board next month for the superintendent to sign. Now, what is a PPA? It's a power purchase agreement. Basically, it's a leasing agreement with Verogy, who is the city's provider for solar power. In this case, it's going to be roof solar. Just to give you a quick history, we have 4 schools.
Can I interrupt a minute? Sorry about that.
I'm sorry.
Are we supposed to be having anything on the screen? Do we have anything? Okay.
No. This is because you will receive the document eventually. This is just for you to be able to move it on
Okay.
to the, okay.
Thank you.
Right.
But ask us for any details, like this is, maybe, Bill, you could tell them what project this is for.
Right. This one is for roof solar at Norwalk High School / P-Tech. We have 4 schools with roof solar. This will be the 5th school. And that's what's in front of you today, the contract to sign for a power purchase agreement with Verogy. Any questions?
Yes. What is the status with the carport at Norwalk High School and the P-Tech project?
If Alan Lowe can speak to that, he might have a better update than me. This one is only for roof solar.
Yes, good evening. I'm Alan Lowe from the city of Norwalk. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the city person responsible for helping the Board of Education and the city to implement all our school and municipal building constructions. So, and specifically regarding Norwalk High School, the original design calls for rooftop PV photovoltaic system as well as a carport solar system. This project started probably the design of it probably started. I just want to give everybody a little bit of history since this is the first time we get together and talk about some of this stuff. So back in 2020, I think that's when we started. Around that time, we started the Norwalk High School design project, and the two concept was put together and it's part integrated into the design. It was a proposal to do both systems, but at the same time is that because the design phase and construction phase is so long, we did not apply for any incentive money or updated financial pro forma in terms of the financial viability of doing each one of these systems. The project Norwalk High School, it's a significant project. It's 300 some odd thousand square feet. And the budget right now, it's what's the state approved is $239 million. And we anticipate that, in fact, we are in the process of submitting requests to the city for additional $22 million. That's always been anticipated, but because the time frame of this project is so long, we did not bid out some of the component of the project. So therefore, these bids will be coming in this spring and soon, which include furnitures and other things. So there's a request going in. But bottom line is that in terms of solar, we did not submit anything to the for funding for solar until about now. So through the last couple of years, occasionally I would request for an update in terms of financial performance. And with the understanding that the school construction, the new building will be completed by fall of 2027, we typically install rooftop solar about, I would say, at minimum 6 to 9 months after we finish the school. Because even if we put a brand new roof on the building, during new installation, there may be a little gap here and there in terms of little leaks here and there kind of thing. So we want to go through the initial lack of better word, break-in period. So we make sure that all the miscellaneous little problem are corrected before we put a rooftop solar system on. Because once you put it on, it's very hard to find and correct any kind of minor leaks and stuff. These roofs are warranty, I believe, either 25, most likely 25 years. The question is about carport. So what happened is that we recently have requested an updated financial pro forma from Verigy, who's our approved solar vendor for the city of Norwalk. And the way it works, I just want to go over a little bit of history so you understand why a power purchase agreement is being used. As a municipality, we are not entitled to get tax credits because we're not a profitable company. But in order to capture this, the federal energy tax credit, the way these are set up is that a private company will build a solar system for the city, and they will lease it to us, typically for 20 years, and we will pay for the actual electricity that's generated by the system. So it's almost a lease relationship kind of thing. And the company, the solar developer, basically a turnkey process. They will put the system in. They will receive the benefit of the federal energy tax credit, as well as the utility company incentive, and also they would put in some their own financial investment into it to pay for the capital construction costs. And in a way, we pay debt service for that money by the amount of electricity that's generated. So that's why it's not so we're not building this, the rooftop system, we're not building as part of a capital construction effort. It's really a lease relationship. So regarding the carport solar, as you can imagine, a rooftop system basically sits on like a 2x2 metal racking system. So it's somewhat lightweight, and you place it on the roof, and that's basically it kind of thing. But for a carport, it's very different because the structure and also cantilever out. So it's really a structured steel, and the foundation that you have to provide is substantial. It's like, I believe it's about roughly a 3-foot diameter concrete footing and 9 foot deep in order to support the upper structure because of wind load and and cantilever load kind of thing. So it's substantially higher in capital costs than a rooftop system. So recently, again, I don't have the information available right in front of me, but I can provide this information to you at, subsequently. With the financial performance that we got for the rooftop system is that in 20 years, we are projecting around $2 million worth of energy savings for the system, for the Board of Education, from operating expenses. For the copper solar, we are basically, I would say we actually lose a little money. I think it's $70,000. Basically, we're almost break even. So starting from year 1 to year 11, we'll be actually losing money every year. And then after that, starting for 12 years, we start gaining a little bit and a little bit. So at the end of 20 years, I think we'd be out around $70,000. That is the projection. So when we look at that number, as well as a few other things, one of them is that with us completing the school by fall of 2027, the new building, at that point, we're going to start working on the parking lot, the demolition of the existing building, and then we have to construct a new parking lot. And with the new parking lot, we have to put all the infrastructure below grade, as well as a storm water retention system in the parking lot. The ability for us to put in all the footing foundation for copper solar is very, very complicated in terms of sequencing the construction. And it's a huge challenge for us to accomplish that. So given that consideration, as well as the financial analysis, as well as the other two factors we look at is actually aesthetics and putting a copper canopy in front of a brand new building that we spend a lot of energy and effort to design, as well as there's some perception. I use the word loosely, perception about a cover parking lot in front of the school in terms of security and safety kind of thing. We are recommending that we don't do the copper system. So that's where we are at this point. So I can provide additional information if the committee or the full board desires, within the next couple of weeks. In fact, I think this similar conversation is going to be had with the Land Use and Building Management Committee of Common Council next Wednesday. So I will do a presentation to them as well. I think that's a quick overview of a status in terms of a little bit of the rooftop, as well as the carport solar strategy or lack thereof, because of I'm recommending that we don't do it because there's no really financial gain. At the same time, we have other issues that we need to address that are very, very challenging to accomplish. So the reason why this rooftop solar is coming to the Board of Education for review and approval for the power purchase agreement is that since the money that pay for the monthly or annual cost in terms of electricity generated by a system is being paid for out of the Board of Education operating budget. Because instead of paying into the grid, Eversource, you'll be paying to this company. That's why the agreement is between Board of Education and Verigy directly. I think that's a brief summary of the process and the strategy behind solar for Norwalk High School.
Thank you, Alan. No, definitely, I know I had concerns because we always talk about the safety of the students, and having a carport that would, cover a lot of that, and not being able to have that visual of the students in the front of the school, it was concerning. That's good to know that you're not moving forward with that at that moment, and that we are still moving with the solar for the school. My question is, when you're talking about $2 million savings, you said in 20 years, is that correct? And
Yes.
how long, what's the lifespan of these solar panels?
Yeah,
Out of curiosity.
it's very interesting because it's I'm knowledgeable but not expert in this stuff, so I'd be very straightforward about this. So in today's conversation and technology, it's always changing in this profession, in this technology. Today's comment that I get from the industry is that these panels could last 30 years, right? Our agreement with this company, what happened is these power purchase agreement is actually a sellable asset in the industry, similar to like a mortgage. So they can pretend to sell to another company, they take over. So it's an asset to the company. It's property value kind of thing. So for 20 years, the way the tax credit is set up is that there's in a 20 years, I'm going to this a little more detail because it's kind of a little complicated. So after 20 years, there's a buyout provision. So when you pay for all this money through like monthly, annually kind of stuff, after you pay for 20 years, the city do not own, or the Board of Education do not own the system. They're still owned by the company. So there's end of it, there's a buyout provisions, and the dollar amount is established somehow. I don't know exactly what it is for this bill. So what the interesting point to answer your question specifically is that the life, as I understand it, the life of the panel can last more than probably 30 years. But what controls that life is actually your roof, our roof itself. Our roof is going to last, generally speaking, warranty is 25 years. But you have some leaks and stuff like that. And after 20 years or so, the maintenance becomes a problem and stuff. At some point, we're going to replace the roof. So you would never put that system, you would take it off to put a new roof, you never put it back in. So, and the cost isn't justified. By then, technology is going to be different again, right? So bottom line, it's not the life of it's really the life of your roof that actually dictate how long the system is going to last. So we always look at this. So after 20 years, we got to pay money to buy it out. But then again, we don't have, depends on what working relationship we have. We may be saving more money on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd years kind of thing. But at some point, the life of it is not so much the panel life. It's the life of the roof. So that's a different perspective in terms of how long these things last.
Thank you. Any questions, Garrett or Nellie?
Just one question, and please forgive my not knowing too much about this, but so I know we're not receiving any type of tax credit for this, but is the company that will install it, are they getting any kind of tax credit?
They actually are, because they are a private company, so they are the one that get the tax credit. But what they do is, again, the cost of the system, let's just say $1 million. They will get tax credit for Norwalk as a community. I believe it's 40%. Other community maybe 30. I think there's two levels of tax. One is 30%, one is 40. I believe the way the city of Norwalk is situated, we are entitled to that 40% tax credit. So if it's $1 million, so the tax credit is 40%, and a utility company incentive, roughly, I think traditionally, the 30%. So they had to put in some influx of their own capital in order to pay for the capital installation costs. So that makes up the total cost of the project, and then they have figured out a debt service in a way to calculate a power purchase agreement rates. So we typically at about 13 cents per kilowatt hour. I think that's what we're looking at now.
So then just a follow-up question and kind of a layman's question here. So if they're receiving the tax credit, is that offsetting the installation costs?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That was my only question. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then on my behalf, in regards to, okay, you say it's going to last about 30 years, give or take. What is, obviously that's way down the road, but what would the procedure then be for updating or replacing panels? Or is that not in consideration right now?
Funny is I don't think that far, but okay. It is very challenging. The future is the future. At some point, it's like, even now when we talk about solar, when they talk about equipment that lasts 30 years, I mean, the equipment that's out there now hasn't been in the marketplace for 30 years, right? The technology is constantly changing. So some of these panels is getting more efficient and more durable, but then again, we really don't know. Um, 30 years from now, the building may need to be also equipment-wise, air conditioning, everything. Then we may be doing another major renovation of this brand new building we're building now in 30 years. So
A
it's
full structural rehaul, so.
yeah, so it's I don't even want to suggest that I would know what happens 30 years from now. I think I'd be like 95 by then. But anyway, but at the same time, it's that it is kind of like I do anticipate, mechanical system right now. It's interesting. Traditionally, mechanical system lasts about 30 years. With today's technology, equipment, I don't think the life is as much as the traditional air conditioning and heating system, the way they last back 30 years ago, kind of thing. I don't think equipment lasts as long as we used to. And also equipment is much more complicated and more component to it. And life of these little miscellaneous control and parts do fail. There's more components to fail and technology constantly changing. So I would predict that after 25 years, the building would probably go under another round of modifications. And that's probably the same time that these panels, whether it's going to be still solar or different technology, will come in to take over how a building operating and operates and used by the public.
Okay. Well, looking at more like within those 30 years, especially with the rise in extreme weather events and everything like that, what are the considerations for maintenance has that been considered in all of this?
Yes.
Yeah, they will maintain them throughout the 20-year history, as we
Okay.
do in the other four schools. So this Verogi is committed. It also works to their advantage to provide annual maintenance and preventive maintenance to the entire system over a 20-year period.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for all of that. So I need a motion to move the approval of power purchase agreement for the rooftop solar project installation at Norwalk High School P-Tech with Ferogi, the city's designated solar developer, and to the full board.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Seconded by?
I second.
All right, so that's unanimous, and that'll move to the full board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The second item on our agenda, and from here on out, it'll be a series of updates. And we're going to start first with just what we have forecast for this summer. So, Bill, if you want to just give a brief overview of what summer 2026 may look like for us.
Sure. Thank you, Sandra. So we have about 6 projects, 2 of which will receive state reimbursement at the 60% reimbursement. The first one up is 46 Concord. We used to have a number of underground oil storage tanks under the ground. We're coming to the end of that, and this is one of the last ones we're removing. That will also, as I mentioned, be under the state reimbursement plan. The second improvement we're planning this summer, we partnered with Department of Public Works to repave the parking lots. There are just a few left. This coming summer, we're going to be doing Brookside Elementary School on Highland Avenue. That very much needs it. If you're familiar with that site, there's a very active front parking lot and a very active rear parking lot. That will be partnered with DPW and completed this summer. At Nathan Hale, we have another big project going on, which will take place over 2 summers, and that's the abatement or removal of asbestos flooring on the first floor and the second floor. We're going to do 1 floor per summer. It's a rather involved project. Everything has to be removed from the classroom, including built-in bookshelves and whatnot. And that, as I said, is also going to be reimbursed by the state at 60%. At Wolf Pit, and if I'm going too fast, and if you have questions, please stop me. At Wolf Pit, we are going to continue and do our last school and install temporary air conditioning. What that means is we're going to be hanging units on the wall where there are interior areas and in the window where there are exterior areas such as classrooms. That project will take place over the entire summer, and that will be, we will officially have every school will have air-conditioned classrooms after this summer. So that's something we're very proud of. We've been doing this since probably 2017, and we had 10 schools to complete. This is the last. At Nathan Hale and at Ponus, we're going to keep the students very happy. We're replacing all the student lockers. This is a desired project. Unfortunately, it's not reimbursed by the state, but all the lockers in the hallways are being replaced. And in some areas where there are no lockers, we're going to add lockers because the classrooms are in need of them, such as if there's a student who has a homeroom in the science wing and his locker is way on the other side of the building, he's late for class. So now we'll have lockers outside their rooms and they will have no excuse. So that's the extent of what Norwalk Public Schools will be doing in terms of capital improvements this coming summer.
Thank you for that. I just wanted to let the new board members know that it sounds like it's very quick right now with all this information, but a lot of these projects we've already had like full presentations on, so you guys are coming in on the back end. So moving forward, anything that is brand new, you will be getting a really big presentation with drawings and everything. But like I said, this is just catching you guys up a little bit quickly. These are projects that have been in the works that we've already discussed. And Sandra, for them, can you please explain why we do some projects in the summer?
Yeah, so some projects in the summer, some projects have to take place in the summer because the facility actually needs to be evacuated. So for instance, if you're doing an abatement, it's much like when you're doing an abatement in any other facility, you can't have staff and students in the
Well,
facility. So you
Anything
have-
with asbestos fumes, obviously.
Correct. And so then there's a lot of precautions that we have to take. The other also, it's like any projects involving paving. I mean, that sort of speaks for itself, but you end up having to make that area inaccessible during that time. And so then we work with the schools and we time them just right. So even though they will be summer academy at Brookside this summer, we will time it to do the paving when we're not disrupting the summer academy. But for abatement, we really just close the programs down during the summer. And we have a very short window to do a lot of these large projects, which then sometimes makes them take 2 years, 2 summers, rather than getting them done over one summer, because you have to end early enough to bring everything back in, have teachers have enough time to set up their classrooms, and give everybody enough time to just have a successful opening to the school.
Thank you. Any questions on any of the projects? All right.
Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next update is going to be on our HVAC projects that actually started a few years ago through a grant that the city, in collaboration with Bill and other members of our team, were able to secure. And it is also qualified for a very large reimbursement. And Bill, are you going to provide the update, or is it Alan?
I think Alan is prepared. Either one
Awesome.
of us. What do you
Okay,
think, Alan?
Maybe I just start.
absolutely.
Yeah, this is a very, very unique grant from the state. It's not a typical, it only lasted 2 years. I mean, the state actually put up this grant process for 2 years. And we submitted, got awarded, and one of the largest award in the state of Connecticut. We submitted 6 projects, and all 6 projects were approved. This is about just being air conditioning of all 6 different schools, which includes portion of Bryan McMahon High School, replacement of the existing systems, Rowayton, Narrowmake, Brookside, Marvin, and Silvermine. I think I captured all 6 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the total amount of the all these projects is roughly around $36 million. Each one of these projects is independent, so they're not like the city got one project with 6 locations. It's actually 6 different projects. We're very pleased. Our reimbursement rate is at 60%. Just for the new members, traditionally, the city of Norwalk got reimbursement rates is for 33% for renovation project and 22% for new construction. So when we got this latest reimbursement rate, 60%, it's substantial for the city of Norwalk and its taxpayer in terms of getting a fair share of the tax money that we contribute to the state coffer kind of thing. So the 6 projects we've been it's kind of very unique kind of project, and we started this about almost a year ago, and I just want to elaborate a little bit on construction period. We typically start construction. It's amazing that we actually start after school ends in end of the spring semester, which typically is around June 22nd or so. So if we have to do a remediation abatement, it probably take us 2-3 weeks to do. By the time we start actually doing improvement, it's middle of July, and then we actually finish construction around middle of August because teachers are coming back. So in terms of ability for us to do construction work, it's very, very limited. It's about a month and a half or so of actual construction. So again, if there's no abatement, we can get in there earlier, but if there's abatement, it's very challenging. So with these 6 projects, we started last summer, some of the projects. Brookside School, we basically finished right now. We have some punch lists that we're working on. So we replaced, there's a rooftop units, I think 6 or 7 of them. We replaced all of them already and during this fall, and now we're ready for the upcoming cooling season. Bryan McMahon, if you go there, there's a significant construction in the back of the building near the service entrance. We are actually, for whatever reason, when we first built it back in 2003, the air conditioning system does not have a backup unit. So that's why recently, when there was a mechanical issue and deterioration or age of the 22 years kind of thing, the chiller failed, and then I think Bill struggled and got a temporary chiller in. It's a substantial cost. I think it's over $200,000 for this past summer, right? In any event, so there's a substantial project going on behind Bryan McMahon High School. We are scheduled to finish that project before the cooling season. So we're looking to finish by April or so, April or May, and then we're ready for the cooling season. So that project moving along, but there are various challenges in the back of the building and access to the delivery loading dock and all that stuff, but it's working out. And then there's also on Rowayton and Silvermine. Those 2 projects are different, but at the same time is that they both involve new boilers, because those boilers it's very, very dated and have significant issues. So we actually pre-purchased the boilers, we got it delivered, and then we went out and got a contractor to install them and all. And there are various challenges about trying to expedite the boilers in advance of the heating season. But they are running, and we are having some kind of punch list item and control, managing, and all that stuff that we are working through. I wouldn't say struggle. I think it's working through maybe the right term here. But we are, and also we are doing the air conditioning for Silvermine is actually finished, generally speaking. Heating and cooling are finished. Generally speaking, are finished right now. So we're going through punch lists. Rowayton, we finished the heating system. and the cooling system is going to happen, and because the abatement involved, so we'll go for next summer in order to get the air conditioning system in place. Now mix also too is there's no heating involved, but the air conditioning system is a little more complex, and we will not be finished before the summer. And what other building that Marvin was bid out recently, and it's going to take all next coming summer to finish. Did I miss anyone? I think I got all 6 of them.
You got them all.
That's
I
all.
do want to note that at Brian McMahon, as Alan mentioned, we are going to an air-cooled chiller, and it's going to be installed outside near receiving, and it's going to have a redundant chiller. In other words, if one goes down, the other one operates. Just like you always have 2 boilers in a school. So that's a great advantage. In addition to that, for the first time in Brian McMahon's existence, the gymnasium will be air conditioned. So the students will now stay awake during gym class. And that's a big advantage because a large school with a gym of that size, really, there's a huge advantage of it being air conditioned. So I just wanted to mention that as well.
I mean, I don't want to prolong this conversation too much, but also Brian McMahon High School is actually an emergency shelter.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
it, right? Emergency, whatever. And
Red
also
Cross.
because most of our populations are in that side of town, so in case of emergency preparedness, that is our designated site. Having the gym air conditioned, it serve a good purpose in case that there's like summer hurricanes and stuff like that, and people need someplace to stay, and also they're closer to the water. It's an area that we want to make sure that we're up to par in terms of providing necessary public safety relationships that we need to maintain. I think
Any
that's
questions regarding the HVAC projects, or are we okay to move on?
I'm
No
good.
questions.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, Alan, would you give us an update on the Norwalk High School P-TECH, and I can share the presentation.
okay.
Okay.
So yeah, if you don't mind,
I don't mind at all. Let me just get it up,
just put the
but you
pictures
could
up a little
begin.
bit. I
Mhm.
think one of the things we wanted to do is that I know this is the middle of winter, but I mentioned this also with together also with the Norwalk Common Council members that I think I wanted to arrange for a tour of the building. It's very interesting. I mean, it's the most not expensive, the most. I don't want to sound like it's expensive, but it's a project. It's a municipal construction project that's the most money you ever spent on a construction project. It's over $250 million by the time we're done. And it is kind of coming out of the ground and very uniquely in this space. It's very creative and all that stuff. And I think that I would like, especially now we're requesting capital budget money. I think it's beneficial for Common Council member as well as board member to actually do a tour of the building. But the only problem is that we have temporary heat on portion of the building. But in the middle of winter, it's it's like at 60 or 55 degrees, 60 degrees inside. So, but Mayor,
We could dress the part if you'd like. I'm sure people are interested in having a tour.
I'm half Canadian. I know how to dress warm.
yeah. So
All right, Alan, let's do it.
yeah, I do want to do this because I can talk all day long, but at the same time seeing pictures, walking through is really it's an experience to see how significant this building is in the board of education school system.
I love the walkthroughs that you give us, so
Yeah.
I look
Sure.
forward to them.
Yeah, I would definitely love a walkthrough.
Yeah, the Mayor Relling, before he left office, he asked for a tour, and I have him and Tom Livingston went through the building. They came back like children coming back from a candy store. They were so excited. They go, make sure I invited the ribbon cutting. So, so anyway, so I think I will try to do this within the next couple of months because we are going for capital budget requests, and because we do have a significant amount of money that we are still asking for this building. the strategy is that we're asking about another $22 million, but it's something that we expected all along. Of the $22 million we're asking for, about $10 million actually contingency money that we want to make sure that we have around in case there's still a problem. Majority of the problem that we encounter, we have already by building the building. It's really come down to is soil remediation and potential rock excavation when we demolish the existing building. So I will explain that when the time comes. But at the same point is that our strategy is here that about 22 million. Oh, by the way, this project is subject to reimbursable rates by the state at 80%. So, which is a significant number. So, I mean, again, our contribution, our $239 million, our contribution for the city is about $50 million. So it's one of the biggest selling point that we have in terms of moving ahead with this project because we're able to get 80% reimbursement. So our strategy is that we still need more additional money just to finish the bidding out the rest of the packages, including furniture. Furniture, we typically call FF&E, which is furniture, fixtures, and equipment. So that's what when people talk about FF&E, that's what it means. We don't buy the stuff. We don't bid out the FF&E early. We bid out towards the end of the project because material and pricing changes and stuff like that. So I got lost a little bit here. So we are going to look to do the tour, and I think here's some pictures. Sandra, if you don't mind just flipping through a little bit. I don't think this picture, some of the picture doesn't do it justice, but the other side of the building is looking very, very attractive, I guess.
Well, that's not bad looking. That's pretty good looking. Well, this is the interior. Well,
That's the side end.
This is the interior. It has a grand staircase also, like the South Norwalk School kind of like that's something that the common area will be at the bottom of this. So it's unique because it's going to have like a student commons at the bottom of it.
And I know that I know that a lot of this was gone over with the previous members, but so is there grand staircase is great and everything, but handicap accessibility, is there an okay.
There's elevators, yes, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
Sorry, that's one of my main focuses in that I'm really glad that I'm on this is would you be able to incorporate like the ADA accessibility issues in your tour, or is that something I'd have to do separate?
No, oh, you mean to actually access an elevator?
Or no, to
go over it? Yeah, we have to by law, we have to meet all ADA compliance by law.
Okay.
Yeah, but we could go over it actually during the tour if you like, or we could send you like a report on how we're meeting the ADA requirements.
Yeah, ADA compliance is not a choice. It's part of this criteria.
No, I know it's not a choice, but it's something that I like. It's nice to see it for myself in confirmation.
Sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We can definitely get that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. And this is the P-Tech and side, and this is one of the project rooms. This is some of the work that's actually going on with the corridors and some of the finishes.
It is amazing. I mean, there's sheetrock going up and things like that. You know, mechanical equipment it's up on the ceiling and all. And we still have before we open the building, we still have about a year and a half more of construction going on. So I mean, there's a pool inside the building, and again, all different elements. And one of the challenges, be very straightforward and open about this. One of the challenges me and Sandra have is because these projects take so long. Evolution of education program changes, and try to be as flexible as we can to accommodate changes. It's get very challenging because as we putting up walls and ductwork and outlets and stuff, there's this desire to make changes and trying to find the balance of how much we can do and how much sometimes we have to say no kind of thing. That put some pressure on us to find the right balance to meet the principals and the education side needs and stuff, while continuing to move the project, because the longer we work on this project, the harder it is to make changes. So as we get closer, it's going to be even more difficult. But we are meeting with both principals, and we are trying to accommodate as much of the requests as possible. But there are things that we will not be able to do because the program is all set up. We are building it, so anyway.
Yeah. And an added challenge has been that there's been quite a few different administrations at this point because the project started so long ago. But we had a productive meeting today.
Just a quick question, just out of curiosity. Normally with projects like this, how many change orders would you say you get?
I can simply put a lot. It's and this is just reality of it. It's very, very expensive. We challenge the way the system's set up. We don't go and hire a general contractor. In large project like this, we call construction manager. So we're not fighting with them. They actually represent the city, and then we got to bid on all the trades. So there's we got for bid for electrician, plumbers, exterior walls, steel erectors, and on and on. And the construction manager gets a fee to manage all the trades and stuff. Change order, and there are going to be change order. There's no question. It's not. By the time I'm done, I won't be surprised. This is like 150, 200 change order or more.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it's good or bad. It just means that it's. I learned from architecture school. A building is never done until it's torn down. And when you do these buildings, it's like they're always. It's not negligent by any means. It's just the nature of even you do a renovation of kitchen, do an extension of your own house kind of thing. By the way, we could have done this a little different. Okay, so let's do a change order, or whatever it is. So change is inevitable kind of thing. But at the same time, is that managing those costs it's part of our responsibility and challenge to minimize those costs. But in this profession, it's I'm not complaining about being. These projects are all under union contract and stuff like that, but those rates are very fixed. It's state wages and it's performance bond requirements and insurance and everything else that goes into it. So it is very expensive change orders.
So just another quick question then. I'm assuming that when you're going out to bid, you're getting like the standard 3 different bids, if not more.
We go to the public bidding process. There's city requirement, there's state requirements. There are certain trades we could get like 6 or 8 bids. There are certain trades that we don't get any. Okay, so when you get to a size like this, there's only less than a handful of mechanical contractors sized enough to do this. So it's really challenging in terms of recruiting bidders. A certain time, and also depends on the economy as well. It depends what project's going out of bid that year, what other large project we're competing against for the same labor force. And Fairfield County is also a problem. The reason being is that most of these trades are not in the Fairfield counties. So they all come from Hartford or New Haven or North, and sometimes they come from Canada too, right? To come down this way to do work. And then imagine people come to Fairfield County every day to do construction. I know they come early and leave early, but at the same time that commuting cost adds to the cost of doing business in Fairfield County. So all of that becomes a part of the struggle that we have in terms of bringing the project within budget and all that stuff. So it gets very complicated. I can go on for hours, but yeah, it's construction costs is something that bidding wise, we're trying to recruit as many contractors as available, but sometimes we actually trying to communicate with potential bidders and see if they're interested in bidding. And sometimes they may say they're interested, but they just drop off because either too big or it's actually kind of also interesting too, is that we always talk about bonding capability. A firm may be capable of bonding for, let's say, $10 million, but they don't want to bid on a $10 million worth of project because they want to have like 3 projects that's like $3 million. that way, one finish, another finish. So they don't want to put all the eggs in one basket. So there's many factors to consider when you try to recruit bidder. And sometimes you don't want to be too aggressive either because they know you're dying for a number and the cost goes up. So we want to communicate with them, but we don't want to sound like we're desperate either, right? So you're finding the right strategy is something, finding the right balance to recruit bidder is a challenging task.
Kind of what I feared. And just one last question, I promise. That's it. I would assume that with some of these trades that they're specialty trades. So is there like a master list of pre-approved vendors that you're looking at with other districts throughout Connecticut?
Yes, they actually it's not with other districts. It's actually with the State Department of
Okay.
I forgot which department it is. There are firms that the state go through a process to pre-qualify.
BizNet. Yeah, the BizNet state, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a whole, and sometimes I get these requests to do a vendor evaluations so that they can stay within that listing, so that they can bid on certain project kind of thing. I think there are three categories: small, medium, and large projects and stuff like that. Anyway, yeah. I think the project is going to the schedule. Norwalk High School. We are scheduled to complete the building construction by fall of 2027, and then after we're going to do the parking lot demolition, existing building, and then we're going to build the sports complex. We are scheduled to finish the sport complex by fall of 2028 in time for the football season. The only outdoor item that will not be finished is actually the tennis courts, which is a spring sport. So the tennis court will finish in spring of 2029. I think that's all I have for now. So we do appreciate everybody's interest in going for a tour of this building, and I'll figure something out probably towards the end of this month, maybe kind of thing, so that everybody can. It's fun to Diana, remember we did a Cranberry School. It's kind of that school when we did it was it's really a fun walkthrough. It's not really like a marketing thing for anybody. It really
We did it with South Norwalk too.
Right.
South Norwalk.
It's great to see the schools after we've talked about them for years, because it's not
Yes.
just
Yeah.
months, years, and to see all the work that's gone into it. It's amazing to see the final product.
So
Well,
during the tour, oh, go ahead, Nellie. I apologize.
It was funny. I was joking with people at Candlelight about how I remember having to before they had done the initial expansion on Norwalk High, or the slight expansion and renovations. We had to do our orchestra practice in the auditorium while it was with no heat. And so we're there with our parkas, and I think we might have smuggled in a space heater, and that's pretty much all we were able to do. And it's so great to. And then I still remember, when I was at Silvermine, how they actually had to close the school a couple days during the summer because of the heat getting so bad, and we didn't have air conditioning. And so it's so great to see these improvements being made for the future generations.
Thank you, Nellie. You'll be happy when we go on this tour. So, and then during the tour, the nice thing is that you can ask questions, and we will have other people there, and you can catch up on some of the things that you might have missed. But this presentation that I shared will be uploaded to Board Docs also. So if you wanted to look at it. Okay. The final, oh, go ahead.
I know I talk a lot, but at the same time is that I do this all the time. One thing that is not on the list of projects that we on our construction list is actually South Norwalk School. I know we finished it. If the board member want to kind of haven't seen that building, it's kind of interesting to tour. I know we had a facility committee meeting, I think the last meeting at that location. But for the new members, I think overall everybody's very proud of how that building
Yeah.
turned out. One last thing, this is really one last thing I want to talk about.
One last thing,
One last
another
thing.
last thing. Yeah, okay.
South Norwalk School is this could be a long story. Bottom line is that we have an intention, or the city have a strategy to put solar on that project. And because SNU is South Norwalk Electric Work is a municipal electrical district, there are certain requirements and criterias and restrictions. And I worked with them for almost 2 years to find a way to actually implement a solar system, a rooftop system, plus as well as a ground-mounted system. Through a lot of effort on both parties, we couldn't make it work because financially it does not work at all. Because SNU buys the power for, I think it was 7 cents per kilowatt hours. The cost of the electricity generated is probably like 12 or 13 cents. So there's no saving. In fact, it costs them money. In fact, SNU is willing to like lose money, but they want to cap it at $25,000 a year, and then any extra would be the city responsibility. And it's just not in the cards for us to kind of like carry that cost. So that relationship did not materialize. But one thing I was committed to do is find other way to see if we can do this. And we found a way to working with the state to actually do a rooftop solar only, not the ground mounted. And instead of doing this power purchase agreement for that project, because the way the SNU set up, we could not buy power from a third party, like the regulations. So instead, what we're doing for South Norwalk School, what I'm working on right now, is actually we're going to design and build it and own by the city/Board of Education. So it's not going to be a leased system. It's going to be owned by the city. Again, the city's Board of Education. So we are looking to implement it, and we are going through a design process right now. We're going to go out to bids in probably about a month or so, and then hopefully we can get the right bids in, and then potentially get it installed this summer. So that is part of the strategy.
And this
So
would be
if-
reimbursable, right?
Right. The reason why it may work financially is because I was able to get the state to accept it as a part of the construction, since we have a little bit of residual funds in the construction project, and we're eligible of 60% reimbursement. So we will not be getting federal energy tax credit nor utility company incentive, because SNU, generally speaking, does not really have a program. I think that program gives us $5,000. The system is going to be probably around $850,000. So yeah, so the way we're doing it is really getting included as part of the construction project and get 60% reimbursement. That's how we're going to make it work.
So
Okay.
once that takes place, we will then have 5 schools with rooftop solar. They include Jefferson, Naramek, CMS, Cranberry, and South Norwalk. And after South Norwalk will be Norwalk High. That'll be number 6.
Thank you, Alan. That was important because I remember at one point there was a large controversy around the South Norwalk and the solar. So thank you for figuring that out. Now, Alan, don't go anywhere, because the last item is you and I were supposed to bring up the 25-year school construction plan and trying to revive those conversations now that we have a new committee.
Yeah. I think one of the things that we start looking, and I have a very, very, very preliminary conversation with the mayor. At the same time, I need to sit down with her and also the new members of Common Council. A chairman is Colin, who used to be a board member. I need to sit down with them to really try to look at we haven't really prepared a 25-year plan, but we had discussion for last year and a half. I think we really need to figure out, maybe we need to take another step in terms of consultant service to help us evaluate and fully develop a plan that we can strategize. One of the things that we find out for the last year and a half or so is that the city's financial capability to support a major school construction project is probably around every 3 years. So I think that's one of the parameters financially that what we as a community can afford. We're saying major construction project. We talk about somewhere between, I would say, 80 to $120 million projects. So I think that's one of the parameters that we established. So we need to sit back and start really formulating a plan together that we can publish and work with the school community to develop together, kind of thing. But one of the things that we came up from the last couple of years of conversation is that we're looking at West Rock School. As I think most of you probably heard that. In fact, I mean, a member of this committee was present, or I guess we went to West Rock to talk about it. One of the reasons why our initial conversation was to start that project beginning this year. But at the same time, the state approved a increased incentive to community like Norwalk for additional 5%. So it triggered us to do a whole calculation in terms of construction costs as well as additional reimbursement to see what is the financial impact to the city of Norwalk if we push it off 1 year. It's not really a delay, but it's just like we start submitting by June 30th of this year. We submitted next year 2027. What is the financial position that the city would have? Is, I think, finance department calculated based on debt service and everything else is probably around $5.5 million, something like that. The cost differences. So based on the conversation at the time, the decision is just push out 1 year. So we are looking to start doing we did some background work already. So in any event, so that's something me and Sandra and also the city as well, board of ed side, need to sit down and really put our heads together to develop and generate a plan that's for the next whatever year that.
Not 25 years since it started, maybe 2
Well, it's
years
not 25
ago.
anymore, right? It's 23 years.
We just keep calling it 25 years, but it's really not 25 years. It's more like 23 years left of the reimbursement. And just so that you know, that was born out of us being approved for a greater reimbursement. I think we and Stamford were the two cities that were approved to have a larger reimbursement for our school construction project. And it was initiated 2 years ago. We did have some preliminary conversations around which schools make sense. Chair Carpio was part of those conversations. So we just wanted to bring you up to date that those conversations have taken place between the mayor's office and the superintendent's office and along with the board, and that we plan on reviving those conversations.
And South Norwalk School is actually our first 60%.
The first one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was our presentation for today, and thank you for allowing us to go over by 5 minutes. And we're here for any questions. And no more one
quite
more
all right.
thing.
I had extra questions, so
No, not at all. This is what these committees are for you to be able to understand these topics and allow us to talk to you about these focus areas. So please always bring questions.
thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course. So Chair Carpio, my dog, sorry, I'm gonna mute. Please, I give it back to you.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for all this information. I know it's new information for the new board members, but for me, it's a refresher too. Being on facilities for a few years and knowing what's been coming down the pipe, it's exciting to hear all these projects, coming to fruition. And if no one has any questions, all right, so I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion to adjourn.
All right, thank you,
Okay.
everybody. Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sandra.